Hey everyone, this is Nitro. So it's Monday and I thought I would do another Nitro setup video today. So before I begin, I should mention, due to my busyness in real life, I just haven't had much time to play Langrisser, and as a result, I have not watched any of the Apex matches at all. So I have no idea what happened. In fact, just taking a look right now, I only just now know that Lemons won the playoffs. So I don't know. If there's any interesting matches that were in the playoffs, let me know. Maybe I'll do an analysis of the battle. So let me know in the comments below. But in any case, so I have not watched any of those matches as a result. And right now, in terms of the past week, quite a few things have happened. But first, as always, I'll go over the equipment farming results of the previous week. So we'll go over that first before I go into other things. So, the previous week before that, I got 8 SSRs, and last week as well, I also got 8. So 8 seems to hold relatively steadily in terms of SSR count. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher, but it seems to average out to around somewhere around 8 to 10, with 2 daily runs anyways. So we saw me do the gambles last week, right? So I'm not going to recover that. It's written here. But the Timeless Trial gave me yet another Holy Arc. I think I already have 2 level 50 ones. I don't know what I'm going to do with a third one, but I'll hold on to them for now. And other than that, from the Yu Hakusho event, so far I've only gotten the first SSR item, which was a Depth's Robe, which was Ord. Okay. I did get 2 decent SSRs last week. A Blue Moon, I don't know which number it is because I built so many of them, and more importantly, also a King's Crown, my 4th one. So 2 nice SSRs overall. I've kept the Dark Crown, I've kept this Goddess Left Hand, for example, and other than that, there's another Dark Crown here, a Tiara, Assault Headgear, both of these were Ord, and a Broken Star, which I've temporarily held on to for now. I don't think I'm going to build it up, but I've just held on to it just in case. I'm more likely to build the Mjolnir than the Broken Star, but I've held on to that. So, 8 SSRs, 2 good ones, right? But a lot of these are actually usable. For example, I do have a whole bunch of Goddess Left Hand built, so I'll probably hold on to this to potentially build up another one. I've held on to these Dark Crowns because they're pretty good as temporary replacements for anyone who doesn't have, let's say, a Yggdrasil Reef or a Tenyo's headdress, right? So that's pretty much my current status with regards to gear. Yeah. Next, the more important announcement is I finally got Yusuke. Okay. So I did 297 draws, and I think I got 4 SSRs, right? So it took me 362 draws in total to get a copy of Yusuke. So that was 65 additional draws. In addition to that, I was down to doing single draws at this point, and I managed to get a Yusuke, so I was pretty happy. Of the 65 draws that I did, I think around 40 draws got me Kurama, yet another copy of him, yes. And then another 25 draws managed to get me Yusuke. So I was down to, I was practically out of all draws when I finally got a copy of Yusuke. So it makes me pretty happy to at least finally get him. So with Yusuke though, I have not decided to farm his shards yet. And in large part, that's because after thinking about it, I felt like since I had already started on Leonhard, Alustriel, and Weiler, I figured I might as well finish them up first anyways, right? Leonhard really does need to be 6 stars, right? Alustriel, by the time I get her to 6 stars, she should have her exclusive available, so I might as well build her up. And then Weiler, because I want Weiler as my other healer. In the playoffs, I did run into a serious issue, which was the lack of having mass attack, right? So I decided that I really do want to replace my current Chloe with Wowler, if possible. So that's why I'm starting to build him up. So on that thought, I decided that, you know what? I think I'm willing to delay getting Yusuke into my party. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to have any real problem getting into Langrisser rank in the first place, so building up Yusuke would be more if I wanted to get beyond Langrisser rank, like get into the top 32 or whatever, right? And ultimately, I don't think I'm going to be that committed into playing PvP, so, you know, I'll delay building up Yusuke at the end of the day. But I have him. That's the nice thing. That's the most important thing, I think. So, yes, Yusuke is right here. Kurama is at 4 stars with 50 out of 100. So I picked up 3 copies of him, right? And I can actually summon Kurama, which I might as well do now. Right. So, due to the events, I've been slowly doing 2 battles a day, right? And he's just been steadily leveling up as a result. So he's already at 4 stars, just from currently doing some of the events. So, I think from the event you can get him up to 5 stars, right? I'm gonna take a quick peek at the event right now, and so I'm planning to to get to 90k from doing the dailies. So it's just gonna be a slow but steady farm for points, right? And yeah, there's another 40 shards here, and then another 50 shards. So yes, you get a 5-star Kazuma Kuwabara from doing the event steadily. Okay, so with these things covered, at the end of the day, you know, it ultimately took me 362 draws to get 6 SSRs. So that's not too bad of a rate in truth, right? 6 divided by 365 is, or sorry, 362 is basically 1.65%, you know, 1.66% around there. So it is below the 2% average rate, but you know, sometimes you get luckier, you get, you know, SSRs in 10 draws, sometimes you don't get lucky. I think over the long run, it just kind of balances out. That's really all that needs to be said. So, the most important thing though was getting a copy of Yusuke. Ultimately, it took a long time, but I managed to get him, so that's all that matters. But the problem, of course, is the upcoming other Yu Yu Hakusho banner with Hiei and Toguro brothers. I don't know how I'm going to do there. If it does come this Thursday, which is the expected time, I may be in serious trouble, right? It's supposed to come when Glory, for Glory, Age of Magic ends, but I'm hoping that they delay that banner. We'll see though. So, that is the SSRs I currently have. I am missing actually a few SSRs, I should mention, right? Because I was not summoning for every single SSR in the game anymore, right? The SSRs I am currently missing are Rainforce and Emelia. So I have most of them, just I'm missing 2. And the reason I stopped summoning for every SSR, in large part, is because I don't have, even if I get them, they'll just sit around. I'm not going to use them, right? A 3-star Rainforce is totally unusable, and a 3-star Emelia is totally unusable. So why bother to summon them as a result, right? I believe neither is needed for bonds. Well, I think Rainforce is needed for Sri Lanka when she gets released, right? But at this point, I don't think Emelia is used for anyone's bonds, right? She's just not linked to anyone else in terms of the story and so on. So it's safe to go without her. Yeah. So, 2 SSRs missing. Yeah, no big deal, because I have all the more critical ones. Now, in terms of the SSR summon percentage as a result, I'm currently at around 2.16%, which is a bit above the 2% average, which is pretty good. And the next thing to talk about then is, I guess, any changes to my party or any updates. Well, first of all, because a Apex Arena season has ended, right, with the next season starting this coming week. Season 3 starts this weekend, in fact. But because it ended, I did get my season rewards, right? So the season rewards were... I already picked it up, unfortunately, so I can't remember off the top of my head. But it was definitely something like 2,000 Trinity Crystals here. And a bunch of Mastery Stones, right? Sorry, I think it was the Arena Mastery Stone selectable gifts, and maybe these Mastery Stone Epic gift packs, and then finally some, I think 4 SSR scrolls selections where you get 20 of them. So these ones are 10 Mastery Stones, right? If I choose one, I can choose 10 Mastery Stones or whatever, right? That was, you can choose 20 SSR scrolls, and I've already used them up. I've been using them up trying to rebuild my Listell. I realized that Listell should really be built for defense instead of magic defense, so I was trying to get hit point and defense rolls on all her gear. Hasn't really worked out very well. The Swords of Metal got 7% defense and 7% hit points, but that was about it. I ended up with... Oh, the Oath of Justice now has 6% hit points and 4% defense, but the Kage Kidan uniform actually got a better roll of 14% hit points and 9% magic defense. I really wish this was defense. And the Najord's Feathered Crown I haven't been rolled for yet. So she currently has 2 defense increasing items and then 2 magic defense increasing items. I do want to change this for ideally maybe 20% more defense value. And with 20% more defense, she should be able to survive a lot more attacks than she currently does. So that's my current work in progress. I guess, changing up Listell's gear so that she is better for PvP. So, other than Listell, because I already mentioned how I got a lot more blue moons and so on, so there's a whole bunch of heroes that currently may be building up new sets of gear. For example, Gizarov now has like a blue moon, Galaxy Cloak, Dark Crown, Meditation Ring. I can very easily upgrade this Dark Crown with the free ones that I got. You can also see that Lifney has a level 30 Dark Crown as well. So I'm kind of building up a few alternate sets of gear for other characters, and these sets in truth are more for PvE purposes than PvP. So I use them for Guild Wars in particular, so that I don't have to move equipment around. So Gizarov, it may slowly start building up a set of gear, right? Almeda currently is missing a weapon, so she may get one later. She's missing a weapon because I moved most of the gear that was on her to Wowler. So Wowler is going to slowly get a Goddess tier, Tenyo's headdress, as well as a Blue Moon. And then I may change up this Tenyo's robe enchant to Crystal, or I may just throw this on someone because a Breeze enchant is pretty solid, in truth. So you can see that there are a whole bunch of characters who are now starting to get gear just for PvE purposes. Other than that, for example, Lifney slowly has a set of gear being built for her. I'm thinking I may move this set of gear over to Egbert's instead, because I use Egbert more for fixed damage maps than I use Lifney, right? So yeah, that's going to get moved. And yeah, I don't really plan on committing resources to building up these sets of gear. It's more just over time, they'll slowly upgrade, and then I'll have another set of gear, right? I don't really want to use Epic Martial Spirits to upgrade them. That's what I mean. So, and in the meantime, I am slowly trying to do the class mastery on Alustriel and Wyler. So, Wyler, in fact, does now have the double class. Doesn't have double class mastery because The tactician class is not mastered yet, but slowly working his way up. The limitation there, as always, is the guild medals. So slowly but steadily. There's no rush to upgrade the characters, so that's what I'm doing right now. Further building up the number of characters I can use. Alright, so this part should have been done earlier in this video, but I'll do it now, and that's the gambles for this week. So, I'm going to do, because I have the 2 daily runs, right? I now get double the amount of ore column ore, so I can actually do all the gambles every single week. In truth, if I was more focused on optimizing my party, I would probably purchase the rare enchant gift packs every single week, right? Because this is another 25 SSR enchants, right? But what I find is my big limitation in truth is gold. So I'm not that willing to do those purchases, and as a result, I just do more gambles to get more sets of gear. So here we go. Another Nighthawk, another Goddess Left Hand, and then another Purgatory. Oh, a Bloodline Magic Armor. Not bad. Arcane Battle Garb, I can also use that. And a Gargoyle Jacket, which is ore. Then the headgear, Loki's Mask is ore. Carbon Fiber is ore. And then... wow! Another Hand of Tyr. Nice. So overall, this was actually a really good week. I now have 5 Hand of Tyrs that I really should start building up, in truth. So I guess that's where my Epic Martial Spirits will go into, right? As for the Arcane Battle Garb, I actually have a level 31 on Sonya, so I get another upgrade on that. There's 2 Purgatories here, but I don't really want another Purgatory in truth. I already have 2 built, and I find they are useful occasionally, but they're relatively limiting overall, because they have 5% int increase rather than 10%. So they're great for single target strikers, right? Because the extra fixed damage strike of 1 times hero's int can be useful, especially as another debuff you can apply on the enemies. But beyond that, I generally prefer having the blue moons and red moons, which are much more stable because they work for both AoEs and single target strikes, right? So speaking of the number of blue moons and red moons I have, we can count right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 6 blue moons and then 2 red moons, right? Of course, of these, this 2 blue moons and a red moon still need upgrading, but that still means I have 4 blue moons and a red moon built, along with these 2 Purgatories, and in terms, 1 Alder Staff, which I actually don't think I ever really use, and a whole bunch of Goddess Left Hands. Right? 1 level 50, 2 level 50s, 3 level 50s, right? And then I am, I guess, building up my 4th level 50 blue moon, or sorry, 4th level 50 Goddess Left Hand. So, whole bunch of gear slowly being upgraded. And I'm just going to ore some of the gambles that I just got, which really I think is just the Purgatory, right? Because I really don't want another Purgatory, so I'll ore both of those. I'll ore the Loki's Mask because there's no need for it. The Carbon Fiber helmet and Gargoyle Jacket, and I think that's it. The rest of the items were actually worth keeping, right? Because I have 3 Nighthawks just sitting in on hand. Yeah. So yes, let's ore. Actually, I could ore one of these Giant's Resistances too. So there you go, 600 more ore. I can purchase a few more Epic Martial Spirits if I really need to upgrade another piece of gear. In truth, my gear upgrades are kind of limited by the number of enchant scrolls I have, right? Because until I get a good enchant on the piece of gear, it's not worth using, you know? So every time, you know, I need something to replace, let's say a Chief's Helmet enchant like this to give Elwin a new helmet, right? And so it's a slow transition. You know, there's no real rush to do this. In truth, all those Hands of Tier are really just meant for PvP purposes, so it's not like I have to rush at all. But eventually, I think all my infantry characters and Lancer characters and maybe cavalry characters will have these new Hands of Tier to replace their current pieces of art, equipment, especially things like the Aeneas's helmet and so on, right? So slowly but steadily. Alright, so moving on. What else is there to talk about? Not too much. I already mentioned how I'm going to keep with upgrading my current character set of Leonhard, Alustriel, and Wilder until they're complete. So Yusuke is going to just sit around for quite some time. And so that means my bond upgrading doesn't really change at this point, right? In terms of characters that I'm focusing on. And in terms of the training ground, I'm continuing to I've done a few upgrades this week. In particular, for the flyer in aquatic training ground, I finally finished up my lobster behemoths, raising them to level 10 at long last. And in the archer and assassin training ground, I've done one more upgrade into killing breath. So you can see here, this is level 8, this is level 19, this is level 9. So my goal is to my priority right now is focusing on finishing up the elite training, these 3 techs here, for the archer and assassin training ground. Then I'll probably finish up this attack tech, so that in total, there will be 70% attack increase for the archers and assassins. And then at that point, I'll probably change to the flyer and aquatic, then cavalry, then holy and demon, then infantry, then lancer. Lancer is by far my lowest priority one. It's gonna just... yeah, I don't really use lancers. So that's kind of my upgrade order for my training grounds. I really do wish I could focus on infantry and training earlier, but I just don't see how I can get the resources to do so. You know, the SSR items in particular. Among other things though, I think I would, if I were to focus on upgrading this, I think this one is top priority. Getting emergency treatment up to level 10. You know? And then probably overrun tactics and so on and so forth. There's a lot of techs for the infantry and training ground that well, my personal opinion is, if you use the infantry training, or use infantry characters in general, they are kind of about being able to both tank damage and dish out damage. So you need to upgrade it fully, like, or at least the core attack needs to be maxed, as well as core defense. And that's a lot of resources, right? Doing both of these, as well as this, as well as finishing the overrun tactics and emergency treatment. So that's why I've been kind of holding off on this one as a result. You know. In addition, the air defense armor increases infantry survival against ranged attacks, and then solo striker increases their damage when there's no ally units within a 1 block radius. So the infantry training ground is very much a, if you commit into it, you need to go all in. And you know what? I think I need to kind of go all in first on my other training grounds, like flyers, holy and demon, and cavalry. So that's why it's fallen far behind. Alright, so is there anything else to cover? Not particularly. I mean, this is just my current status. I want to finish up the archer and assassin attack, then start getting the flyer stat attack up to 70%. You know, then start getting the cavalry tech finished. And then Holy and Demon. And then probably back to Flyer to increase the defense for the Lobster Behemoths, right? And then finally Infantry Training Ground. And then only once all these other tech trees are done would I even look at the Lancer Training Ground. Kind of awkward. I imagine to actually fully upgrade this would probably take yet another year in truth, if not even longer, to fully upgrade all these training grounds. So that's pretty much it. Not too much else to say at this point, you know. In truth, my party is more than powerful enough for any PvE content. Any kind of further upgrades I do nowadays is more for PvP purposes. So it's a slow grind for that. Because ultimately, while I do PvP, I'm not truly into it. In the sense that I aim to get into the top, I don't know, the top 16 or whatever. My goal in PvP in truth is simply to get into Langrisser rank, which is usually enough for you to get into the playoffs. Other than that, so that pretty much concludes this video. The final thing is, for this week, there's a whole bunch of things I have to catch up on. In particular, I need to catch up on the challenges for the Yu Yu Hakusho event. There's 2 challenges here. I also have to, today, do my Ancient Beckoning battle for Nidhogg, because there's 8 hours left and I haven't done a battle yet. And last but not least is, I am still on Chapter 4 of the missions. So I have to do Chapter 4 and I guess Chapter 5. And if there's any other additional missions, I would have to do those too. Yeah. Just... let's put it this way. In real life, I am going to be very, very busy until around mid-April. So it is kind of a struggle for me to find time to do all of these maps. So we'll see. Might be able to do them this week. I'll try to get at least 1 or 2 battles in every day, but no guarantees, no promises there. So this was a longer video. I'm kind of surprised how long I chattered on for. So yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this kind of information interesting. It's been a year since I started playing this game, so my party is in truth very, very advanced now. So, on that note, NItro out.